day. Welcome to SO 104, Study Session 9. Adam Smith Theory of Economic Development. Introduction. Adam Smith, a foremost classical economist, in his monumental work, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations, published in 1776, was primarily concerned with the problem of economic development. Though he did not propound any systematic growth theory, a coherent theory has been deduced by later-day economists to project that he was talking about economic development. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to 1. Discuss the main features of Adam Smith's theory of economic development, and 2. Critique Adam Smith's theory of economic development. Theoretical deductions from An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations. The following were the deductions to show that Adam Smith was talking about economic development. 1. Natural law. Adam Smith believed in the doctrine of natural law in economic affairs. He regarded every person as the best judge of his interest, who should be left to pursue it to his own advantage. In furthering his own self-interest, he would also further the common good. That is why, in pursuance of self-interest, an individual is led by an invisible hand which guides market mechanism. Smith was naturally opposed to any government intervention in industry and commerce. Therefore, he believed that every individual that is left free seeks to maximize his own wealth, thereby maximizing aggregate wealth, which is development. 2. Division of labor. This is the starting point of Smith's theory of economic growth. He stated that division of labor results in the greatest improvement in the productive powers of labor. He attributed this increase in productivity to A. Increase in the dexterity of every worker, B. Saving in time to produce goods, and C. Invention of large number of labor-saving machines. The invention of machines stems not from labor but from capital. It is noted that improved technologies leads to division of labor and the expansion of the market. Division of labor, however, depends on the size of the market and increase in capital. 3. Process of capital accumulation. Smith emphasized that capital accumulation must precede the introduction of division of labor. Smith regarded capital accumulation as a necessary condition for economic development. Therefore, the problem of economic development is largely the ability of the people to save more and invest more in a country. The rate of investment was determined by the rate of savings, and savings were invested in full. He said that all savings resulted from capital investment or the renting of land. Hence, only capitalists and landlords were able to save. The labor classes were considered to be incapable of saving. 4. Profit motive. According to Smith, investments were made because capitalists expect to earn profits on them, and that the future expectations with regard to profits depended on the present climate for investment as well as actual profits. Smith believed that profits tend to fall with economic progress. For instance, when the rate of capital accumulation increases, increasing competition among capitalists raises wages and tends to lower profits. Smith wrote that with the increase in prosperity, progress and population, the rate of interest falls, and as a result, the supply of capital is augmented. The reason for this is that with the fall in interest rate, the money lenders will lend more to earn more interest so as to maintain their standard of living at the previous level. This means that the quantity of capital for lending will increase with the fall in the rate of interest. But when the rate of interest falls considerably, money lenders are unable to lend more in order to earn more to maintain their standard of living. Under this circumstance, they themselves will start investing and become entrepreneurs. Thus, with the fall in the rate of interest, there is increase in capital accumulation and economic progress. 5. Agents of growth. According to Smith, farmers, producers, and businessmen are the agents of economic progress. Free trade, enterprise, and competition leads farmers, producers, and businessmen to expand the market, which in turn makes economic development possible. The functions of these three groups of people are interrelated. To Smith, development of agriculture leads to increase in construction works and commerce. When agricultural surplus arises as a result of economic development, the demand for commercial services and manufactured articles increases. This leads to commercial progress and the establishment of manufacturing industries. On the other hand, the development leads to increase in agricultural production when farmers use advanced production techniques. Thus, capital accumulation and economic development take place due to the emergence of the farmer, the producer, and the businessman. 6. Process of growth. According to Smith, this process of growth is cumulative. When there is prosperity as a result of progress in agriculture, manufacturing industries, and commerce, it leads to capital accumulation, technical progress, increase in population, expansion of markets, division of labor, and rise in profits continuously. All this happen in Smith's progressive state, which in reality is the cheerful and arty state of all the different orders of the society. 7. Stationary state. The progressive state is not endless, it ultimately leads to a stationary state. It is the scarcity of natural resources that finally stops growth. In such an opulent state, the competition for employment would reduce wages to the subsistence level, and competition among businessmen will bring profits as low as possible. Once profits fall, they continue to fall. Investment also starts declining. Thus, the end result of capitalism is the stationary state. When this happens, capital accumulation stops, population becomes stationary, profits are at the minimum, wages are at the subsistence level. There is no change in per capita income and production, and the economy reaches the state of stagnation, according to Smith. The stationary state is dull. Life is hard for the different sections of the society. Life is miserable. All this happen in a free market economy. 2. Appraisal of Smith's theory. Smith's theory has the great merit of pointing out how economic growth came about and what factors and policies impede it. In particular, he pointed out the importance of parsimony in saving and capital accumulation, of improved technology, division of labor, and expansion of market in production, and of the process of balanced growth in the interdependence of farmers, traders, and producers. Despite these merits, it has certain weaknesses. Jengan, 2003. These weaknesses are examined below. 1. Rigid division of society. Smith's theory is based on the socio-economic environment prevailing in Great Britain and certain parts of Europe. It assumes the existence of a rigid division of society between capitalists, including landlords, and laborers. However, the middle class occupies an important place in modern society. Thus, this theory neglects the role of the middle class, which provides the necessary impetus to economic development. 2. One-sided saving base. According to Smith, capitalists, landlords and moneylenders save. This, however, is a one-sided base of savings because it did not occur to him that the major source of savings in an advanced society is the income receivers and not the capitalists and the landlords. 3. Unrealistic assumption of perfect competition. Smith's whole theory is based upon the unrealistic assumption of perfect competition. This laissez-faire policy of perfect competition is highly utopistic. Rather, a number of restrictions are imposed on the private sector and on internal and international trade in every country of the world. 4. Neglect of entrepreneur. Smith neglected the role of the entrepreneur in development. This is a serious defect in his theory. The entrepreneur is the focal point of development. It is the entrepreneur who organizes and brings about innovations, thereby leading to capital formation. 5. Unrealistic assumption of stationary state. Smith was of the view that the end result of a capitalist economy is the stationary state. It implies that there is change in such an economy but around a point of equilibrium. There is progress but it is steady, uniform and regular like a tree. But this explanation of the process of development is not satisfactory because development takes place by fits and starts and is not uniform and steady. Thus, the assumption of the stationary state is unrealistic. 6. Static model. Though Smith's model looks like a growth model, it is not a growth model in the modern sense. It does not exhibit a sequence. Thus, it is a static model. Study session summary. You have learnt about major deductions of Adam Smith's theory of economic development. They are national law, division of labor, process of capital, accumulation, profit positive, agent of growth, process of growth and stationary state. Also, major criticisms of this theory were learnt. End of study session 9. Thank you for listening.